wasn't in our venue, although I did explore it for Twickenham, and I still think it has relevance. I saw a fantastic piece of work, which is it's a couple of years old now, that a crisp manufacturer did with Gary Lineker in terms of putting up a digital screen by a bus stop. And then people were able to engage. I don't know if you saw that yet.
We're doing something similar, about to unveil it in Bristol.
It's fascinating in that they were actually communicating with the device, and then they were sent a message. When they responded, they were dispensed with a packet of crisps for the vending machine. It was just quite incredible in that you had that engagement piece going on at a bus stop, and that would be very easy to do. I mean, at Twickenham, we were looking at maybe doing that engagement piece with a player, for instance, okay, and then they would push maybe a discount voucher to the phone. But yeah, something like that I thought was quite outstanding.
It comes back to using your best assets, isn't it? You know, and you know, whilst the conference and events and side of it is huge, in terms of the things that are always going to attract people in is the fact that your USP is you are a sporting home to whichever sport it is. You know, something that we did with we actually trialled with our basketball team first, and then we moved it on to Bristol City, which was our GIFs, which is a social media tool, but actually has translated into so many other areas where players have come alive effectively, because we had them celebrating their goal GIFs, which went viral on social media. But actually, how can we use those in the stadium and around the city? So we've got a big advertising campaign rolling out ahead of Christmas, where we've got players on bus stops and boards, and we've been trying to work with all the formats of how can we actually example them doing something that might surprise people, because again, a lot of the advertising just ends up like wallpaper. You know, we've been looking at this whole advertising space going, how can we make a shopper stop and go, oh, I want to go and see those, you know, that team. And it's by getting your stars to do something that, you know, just is slightly out of the ordinary, rather than a picture of a poster person with a ticket saying your next game is here and this is how you buy the ticket. So it's actually getting someone to stop and watch. And I think that's a really quite an interesting space. I think it's something that I'm quite looking forward to seeing unveiled.
I think we touched on it briefly earlier on, in that the communication from on the pitch to the fan in the stands is one way. And for me, the next evolution is that interactivity. Is when you touch, feel, interact, get a response back, and have that movement between you and the screens, you and the physical piece of technology, so that it becomes interactive, it becomes dynamic. It's reacting to whether, you know, I'm a 7-year-old boy, or 25-year-old, or 50-year-old, and being able to promote something or the same content in very different ways to a very different audience, to put that piece across. I guess the key piece being that it's, you know, the right content to the right place at the right time, and any of those things could be the person who's receiving it could make it the right time. You know, the environment could make it the right time. The moment, the goal celebration, the emergency evacuation could all be triggers for the right time, and how you're using that signage. But it's the interactivity of those that will really drive it on.
What we did is, when we refurbished our arena, we looked around to other arenas and stadiums, and went to airports, we went to different places, and what us inspired was like a great selfie spot. So what we did is we made a LED facade on the arena from 1,000 square meters with Philips, and so now we put the artists or the sports events on the LED facade, and all the people who come wants to come on the picture with on the back the arena. Yeah, we have not a beautiful arena, we have a normal arena, but now our arena is traveling around the world in pictures, of course, with people standing before the arena with a favorite show on the background. So it was our solution as a face to the city, as a selfie spot. And it works quite well. So sometimes you can find your ideas on very different places, and it works very well.
One of the things I've actually experienced it myself, but one of our agencies presented to it, and again I'm going to stick with the theme around conference and events, was and I'm seeing it already today around, you know, you meet people, lots of interesting people you want to connect up with afterwards, and everybody's fiddling around for business cards and might lose them, etc. I think there's an app that somebody's developed where you can have essentially an interactive delegate card, and essentially then if you want to exchange, you can basically tap each other's delegate cards, and it basically connects you automatically on LinkedIn. Just be in terms of, you know, delegates connecting on events, that's the sort of innovation I think, you know, if you as a venue could offer something like that, you know, for a conference to actually offer, I think that'd be a great innovation. So certainly one we'll be looking at.
Our best technological innovation, if it was, is Hawkeye and putting it in a score detection, which decided one of our grand finals. So you can imagine 82,000 people are going berserk, and the noise levels are really high, and it stops, and there's a 30-second silence while the Hawkeye decides, was it a point or was it not? It wasn't. It was a draw and a replay. Quite phenomenal to get a whole stadium to go silent on a piece of technology and all looking at the screen. I think the best piece of creative use of a big screen has to be Royal Ascot with the 360 champagne filling glass. I mean, creativity and screens all coming together, and in an environment which is just absolutely right for champagne.